it's not as easy as it looks on social media sometimes. I try to get as many local vegetables as possible. My way of traveling bodes well for this type of rig. That was something that I really wanted to incorporate into my van life.
Hi, I'm Sammy McGowan. This is Charlie. This is our Dodge Ram 2500 2001, and this is our 1983-ish Sun Lite pop-up camper. We've been on the road for just over a year in this, and we're about to take you inside to have a good look into it.
Welcome to the kitchen. I'll show you around. So this kitchen setup is part original, part updated. This wood was actually all put in by the person who I bought the camper from. So under here is where my 3-burner stove is. It's propane, and this is really heavy because it's really nice wood, so I have to put a stick to hold it up. That doesn't bother me very much, so that might bother some people, but I like that it comes down and I can hide my kitchen, and now I can have a counter space. Just can't lose your stick, otherwise you're SOL. The storage system, so underneath here, what also is not original is there is a engine, so I do actually have running water. It's just really loud. And that is connected to a 10-gallon tank that is under some of the seating systems. Under here is just storage. These are all drawers, so this is where I put all of my cutlery, and then my plates and bowls are in here. And then all of my spices and cups are down here. And then here are all of my pots, pans, cutting boards, everything. These are all original, and they're really great because they automatically lock. And so when I'm driving, nothing opens, but basically it's just a button and then it locks. Over here is where I have all of my clothes, toiletries, and there's also a heater. And then over here I have the original fridge actually no longer works. It broke about 3 weeks into life on the road for me. So now it actually is just more pantry space for me. And the original pantry is all up here. So that is pretty jam-packed with all of my dry goods. Because this fridge is broken, I actually ended up buying a fridge just under here. It's just an Alpi Cool chest fridge model. Something that pre-van life I always collected in all of my travels was art. And that is something that I loved about being in an apartment, was I was able to have all of my art all over the wall. And so that was something that I really wanted to incorporate into my van life experience. And so I have art and photographs all over the very minimal wall space that I do have. I originally moved in my camper August of 2021. So I've been living in it for just over a year. And basically I go back to Montana in the summers and go down south in the southwest in the winters so that I'm not in Montana when it's cold and snowy. Another con of this type of setup is, you know, the pop-up portion is all canvas. And so it would be really hard to be stationary in a cold weather state in the winter. There's just like whatever temperature it is outside is the temperature that it is inside. I do have a little propane heater that I use, but that's mostly for comfort, you know, in the early morning or late at night. I don't run it all day, and it would not keep the temperature, at least not sustainably, if I had to live in somewhere that actually experienced winter. But yeah, I think that this is a great alternative to life if you feel that, you know, you don't need roots all the time. I think I would encourage anyone to experience it if something's not, I don't know. So the moment that I figured out I wanted to do this was when I realized that like I was depressed in the winter. And so if you're feeling like there's something in your life that would be bettered by it, then give it a try. If you have someone that you can borrow a rig from, or even if you just go out and car camp for multiple weeks, I think that is a great way to try it out to see if you really want it, because it's not as easy as it looks on social media sometimes. Like, people post the highlights, but it is very difficult. It is often exhausting, especially in bad weather when things break and you have to fix it in order to be able to fix your home. So yeah, but other than that, I think I wake up every day basically and it's sunny, and that was the goal, and I get to experience life a little bit happier because of it. Welcome to my living area. So here we have general eating, working, everything area. Honestly, there's not a lot of other areas to be. So all the cushions are the original, which is honestly probably one of the reasons I fell in love with this camper. It has this amazing 70s vibe that I originally saw and couldn't pass up. So that is one of the reasons I bought it, which is silly but true. Down here we have some storage. That is where I put my garbage and my shoes when I'm not using them. And then also I have like a catch-all, like everyone has a catch-all drawer in their house. Well, same for van lifers. I have a catch-all drawer right here, and it has everything I could possibly need ever. And then this is my thrifted basket that I just got where I keep all of my vegetables. I try to get as many local vegetables as possible. And so now I'm currently in Arizona, and I go to a farmer's market every Saturday to get most of my vegetables locally. So that's something that all van lifers can do on the road if they want. Back here I have more storage, but instead of like maybe things you need every day, I actually keep about 50 books, which is... Every van lifer has something that they probably like shouldn't have or don't need, but they have anyway because it makes them feel good. And for me, it's books. So I have way too many books in both of these cabinets. So this is a table, but it actually also converts into a second bed. This table is not the original wood, similar to my kitchen. And so this is updated, really nice wood, but this can basically pop down to become a second bed. Basically, you just take off these metal poles underneath, lay them underneath, and then this whole piece of wood slides in, and then this cushion covers this part and becomes a second very small twin bed, basically. It's great for if anyone comes to visit you, but I actually personally use it quite often because having a pop-up tent camper is kind of sketchy when it's really windy, which in the desert, there's nothing to block the wind. So we'll sometimes get days of 25, 30 mile an hour winds. And then these just billow all night and the camper sways back and forth in the wind. And so I'll pop the camper down so it's very aerodynamic, and I'll make a bed here and I'll sleep here for the night. Okay, now I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about my power system. So my camper did not come with a solar panel. I added on afterwards. What they did have originally was just one battery in here, and it would be charged from the exterior. But I was going to be basically boondocking 100% of the time, and I work remotely 9 to 5. So I needed a bit more consistent charging capabilities. And so I added one panel onto my roof. It's 175 watts. That feeds into two batteries. So there was the original battery that I have. It's a deep cycle battery. And I added another one in parallel to it, and it's a 12-volt system. And so here you can kind of see the voltage of what I'm getting from my solar panel and how much it's taking in. Right now it says 14.4 volts because it's, I think, at the top of charging my batteries. And that feeds down to here under my seat that I'm currently sitting on. There is the two batteries as well as a 40 amp charge controller. And then right here mounted on this wall is a 700 watt Renogy, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, or probably not, sine wave inverter. And this is where I charge my computer. And then right here is where my fridge plugs into. And then I also have some USB that I also will charge my phone from. And basically it's like the best system ever. It's not fancy at all. It's one panel, and I charge my phone, my computer, use my fridge, and then I'm trying to think of anything else I use. That's basically it. And it even pulls in solar on cloudy days. So I couldn't really ask for a better system for someone who really only likes to go into town once a week. this rig, the whole thing together cost $13,000. I got a loan for it. I put a large down payment on it. And so what I do owe on it, I think I pay just under $300 a month for it. And so that's basically my rent. And then for gas, I don't travel a lot. Like, I don't move from place to place very quickly. And so I think that speaks a lot to how much gas costs. A lot of van lifers will move a lot, but because I do have a job during the week, 9 to 5, I'm pretty much stationary all week long, and then I'll go into town once a week and do chores. And so I fill up a tank when I'm not traveling a lot. I'll probably fill up once every few weeks. But when I am trying to get places, I do have to fill up fairly frequently, and that can cost, I mean, right now gas is, actually it's just under $5 here. It's diesel, so it is more expensive. And over the summer it was awful. When it was like, I think I paid the most was $5.80 for gas, and right now it's, I think, $4.80. So I am saving a little bit of money now, but if I'm traveling frequently trying to get to a place, it'll cost me half a tank's like $100 minimum. So traveling, if you're a quick traveler, it does cost a lot. So I think that my way of traveling bodes well for this type of rig. It doesn't get very good gas mileage. It's probably like 15 miles a gallon. I'm not 100% sure. And it is expensive, especially right now. So my way of traveling, definitely, like, it's better to be stationary for a long period of time. Welcome to the bedroom. So originally, when I bought the camper, it had the original mattress, which was about this thick, and it was the beautiful 70s upholstery, and I had to get rid of it. I was literally sleeping on the board underneath it. So I upgraded to this, I think it's 8 inches, which was a little bit much more than I needed, but it's like sleeping on a cloud. So I think it was worth it. The one downside of getting the 8-inch mattress versus the like 4 or 5 was I have to take all of my bedding off of my bed when I travel. So I have to pull my pillows, blankets, and put it on my couch so that the camper can pop down. Otherwise, it's too thick. So maybe get a slightly less thick mattress if you're thinking of upgrading your mattress. The other thing about having gotten a huge mattress was there's actually storage underneath the mattress. You can like pop up the mattress, and there's a great place to put clothes, and my mattress is now too heavy for me to do that. So right here I have the bathroom. There's a cassette toilet in here, and it basically, you have blue tablets that you add in with water, and it creates that like antiseptic / anti-smell. And then there is something underneath the camper where you would put the hose and empty it. However, I don't use any of that because I needed a little bit more storage, and I didn't want to have to empty my toilet. I just didn't care for that chore. So this is actually just full of other things like my backpacking gear, my climbing gear, coats, all the things. And instead of using this toilet, I use the Great Outdoors. If you do opt to use the Great Outdoors as your toilet, please look into Leave No Trace. There are a lot of rules, especially with number 2. There is a certain depth into which you should be digging a hole. You should not be leaving your toilet paper in that hole in the desert. So you pack out that. If you're in crowded areas, you pack out your number 2 entirely. So I often have bags to carry out my poop. So just be responsible. A lot of areas get shut down because people poop on the surface, and we are not into that in this house. So pick up after yourselves and your dogs. For work, I work for a nonprofit full time. So I do the traditional 9 to 5 right now. And basically it's kind of flexible, especially in the winter. What I'll do is I'll work basically when it starts being warm out and I can be in my camper working without my fingers freezing. And then in the afternoon when it's really nice out, I'll take Charlie for a long walk so that we get to be out and experience the really lovely weather. And then I'll work in bed at night so that I can basically not be in a camper for the exact amount of time that it's sunny outside. Thank you all for watching. If you want to see more of my life and Charlie's life in this rig, you can follow my Instagram at Samantha McGowan. See you next time.